Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're jumping straight into a universal rule from our source material that literally governs everything: our finances, our relationships, and our personal growth. It's called the law of seed time and harvest. Let's see exactly how this works.
So I want you to think about something for a second. How on earth does a tiny little speck turn into a giant mango tree? It's kind of wild when you hold a small seed in the palm of your hand, right? I mean, how can something so small, so seemingly insignificant, create something so massive, complete with the huge trunk, heavy branches, and literally thousands of mangoes? It completely challenges our whole understanding of scale and potential.
Well, the secret is that a seed's power has absolutely nothing to do with what it looks like on the outside. It's basically a biological vault. A seed is just a tiny container holding massive, hidden potential. One little grain of corn can grow hundreds of new kernels. A single mango seed can eventually become a towering tree. The life is already packed inside, just waiting for the right conditions. And you know, once we grasp how this literal process works in the dirt, we can start to see how this exact same principle applies to our daily lives.
Because here's the thing, we're all farmers, whether we actually realize it or not. Literally every choice you make today, every single action you take, is a seed you are planting right now in the soil of your future. Your future is simply the harvest that those daily action seeds are eventually going to grow into. A lot of times we look at successful people, like a top entrepreneur or a thriving leader, and we admire their harvest, but we completely miss the years of unseen seeds they were busy planting to get there.
Let's get super practical for a minute. What do these everyday action seeds actually look like? Well, reading just 10 pages of a book every day might feel insignificant in the moment, but that's a powerful seed of knowledge. Saving just a few bucks a week, that's a financial seed. Just being a reliable friend or offering a kind word is a relationship seed. Praying or meditating consistently is a spiritual seed. None of these take a massive, heroic effort on a random Tuesday, but they hold the power to completely transform where you end up.
And this brings us to one of the absolute unbreakable rules of seeds. Every seed produces after its own kind. Period. You plant mangoes, you get mangoes. You plant corn, you get corn. The exact same rule applies to your actions. If you plant kindness, you're going to harvest goodwill. If you plant hard work, you'll see opportunities sprout up. But on the flip side, there is just no way you can plant laziness and expect a harvest of excellence. You literally cannot plant dishonesty and somehow expect people to trust you. Life is going to reproduce whatever it is you've put into the ground.
Okay, let's break down the actual process of growing these things, because there's a very specific biological sequence here. Step 1 is the action. You actually have to put the seed in the dirt. Step 2 is consistency. You've got to water it regularly. Step 3 is patience, meaning you just have to wait while the seed does all its invisible work beneath the soil. And only then do you get to step 4, which is gathering the harvest and enjoying the reward. You can't shortcut this. You can't just skip the watering or the waiting and magically fast forward to the harvest. And speaking of waiting, what's really fascinating here is just how much time great harvests actually take. On day 1, you're just staring at dark dirt. It looks like absolutely nothing is happening. Even a month in, at week 4, you might just have a tiny, vulnerable green sprout. It takes years to get that massive fruit-bearing tree. A farmer doesn't plant a seed on Monday and then go yell at the dirt on Tuesday because there aren't any crops yet. But honestly, isn't that exactly what we do? We hit the gym one time and get super frustrated that we don't instantly have a six-pack. Real growth takes time.
But here is the incredible payoff for all that patience. The harvest is always, always bigger than the seed. Just one seed can multiply 100 times over. Our source material actually points to the ancient story of Isaac to illustrate this. He planted seeds during a severe famine. Literally the worst, most difficult season to plant, right? Most people would have totally given up. But because he planted anyway, the text tells us he received 100-fold return in that exact same year. So your original investment of time or money might seem really small right now, but the harvest can grow into something huge.
Now, we really have to watch out for a major trap here, and that is eating your seed. Any good farmer knows they can never consume all their grain from a harvest. They have to save some to plant for next year's crop. But a lot of us end up consuming everything we have available. We spend every dollar of our income today and keep nothing for tomorrow. If you consume everything right now, you leave yourself with absolutely nothing to plant for your future. Wise people always protect a portion of their resources, their time, their energy, their money, specifically so they can plant it for later. The text gives us another fantastic historical case study on this concept, Joseph. Talk about a tough season. The guy was literally sold into slavery.
But even through all those incredibly harsh conditions, he just kept planting good seeds. He planted integrity, excellence, faithfulness, and service. For a long time, the immediate rewards were pretty much invisible. But eventually, all those tiny seeds of character compounded, and he ended up becoming a ruler of Egypt. His massive harvest of influence was the direct result of the seeds he simply refused to stop planting.
Unfortunately, even though this is a universal law, a lot of people completely miss out on their harvest, and it usually boils down to 4 main reasons. First, they just never plant. No seed guarantees no harvest, period. Second, they quit way too soon. They abandon their efforts before the sprout can even break the surface. Third, they plant inconsistently, and putting in effort once in a blue moon rarely produces extraordinary outcomes. And finally, they neglect their seeds. They fail to give them the daily care, attention, and protection they actually need to thrive. If there is one magic ingredient to making sure your seeds actually grow, it's this: consistency. Extraordinary results almost never come from one massive, heroic effort. They come from superordinary, sometimes really boring actions, repeated consistently over a long period of time. Consistency is basically the magical water that turns tiny seeds into a towering harvest. Studying a little every day creates immense competence. Saving a little every week builds real wealth. Consistency is the bridge between that tiny seed and the giant tree. Taking all this in, I really want you to think about the different gardens in your own life right now. Which of these areas needs your attention today? Are you planting seeds of integrity to build up your character? Are you reading and learning to plant seeds of knowledge? How about your finances? Are you saving and investing? Are you making choices that plant healthy habits for your body? Are you investing the time to grow strong relationships? Every single one of these gardens requires you to actively, intentionally plant seeds today if you want to enjoy the fruit tomorrow.
As we wrap up this explainer, let's lock in on this incredibly powerful summary quote from the text. The harvest you desire tomorrow depends on the seeds you plant today. It's just so true. Success is rarely an accident. A better future isn't something you just sit around hoping for or get lucky enough to stumble into. You actually have the power to consciously build the exact future you want simply by understanding and applying this principle. Knowing that your everyday habits and choices hold this enormous, world-changing potential locked inside them, we have to end on the most critical question of all. What seeds are you planting today? Because whether you realize it or not, your future is already growing. Just make absolutely sure you're planting something you actually want to harvest. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.